Hi guys, welcome to Unit 3, Day 1. Oh my God, we're already on the third unit and it's only October. Almost the end though. But we're about to start Unit 3, which is called Nutrition. And we're not just going to be talking about nutrition, how you might be thinking about it, like the nutrition facts that you see on the back of food labels. We're also going to be talking about nutrition at the cellular level. So how do our cells create the energy that we need to live our daily lives? So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're looking at Unit 3, Day 1, and today's aim is how does the process of digestion maintain homeostasis? So there's already a couple of things that I hope that you want to annotate on your handout. So we know that digestion is the breakdown of materials, and homeostasis is what everything's all about in biology. Homeostasis is a stable internal environment. So homeostasis is all the chemical reactions in our bodies happening in perfect synchronization and harmony. No issues, everything's fine. We're balanced, we're at homeostasis. So now a little review. Write the structures listed below from least complex to most complex. So here we go. Hopefully this is an easy review. You guys are already writing it down ahead of me, but we have the least complex organelle. And then as we get a little bit bigger, cell. And then as we get a little bit larger than that, we have our organs. And then larger than our organs, we have the organism. And remember that all the organelles fit inside all the cells, that fit inside all the tissues, that fit inside all the organs, that fit inside the organism. Least complex to most complex. And that is a review from Unit 2. So here we have Part A. So what is digestion? So first you're going to write your own definition of digestion, and I encourage you to write your own definition, but I'm going to go with the one that we talked about at the beginning of the handout when we first started annotating, which is breakdown. And because it's probably what we're thinking about, break down food. Right? But as I said, we're not just talking about digestion happening in the organism. We're talking about digestion and nutrition happening even at the cellular and at the organelle level. Before our bodies can use the food that we eat, it must first be digested or broken down. So digestion is the breakdown of large, complex molecules biomolecules, and we're about to see those come back up, into small, simple molecules monomers. And this is done by mechanical, so chewing, digestion, and chemical or enzymatic digestion. So most chemical digestion is happening either with very low or high pH fluids in concert with many enzymes. So mechanical, is what your teeth and stomach and esophagus are doing. So mechanical is the moving around, and chemical, so that's mechanical. And then chemical digestion happens with enzymes. But they're both working together to break down our food. So teeth chewing food into smaller digestible pieces is known as mechanical digestion or mastication. Enzymes and acidic juices in the stomach, which break down proteins into smaller molecules, is known as chemical digestion. So those are probably terms that you remember from middle school, but we're just starting off with Unit 3. So again, a little review from Unit 2. We have the complex molecule, proteins, and its building block or monomer is amino acids. We have carbohydrates or starch and their building block. Okay, so proteins are digested. So let's add this here. Enzyme breaks down proteins into amino acids. Right, so in this way, we're not just talking about the building blocks, how it's made, after it's digested, what does it become? And those two processes, synthesis so making new materials and digestion are a cycle. So in our bodies, we eat things like meat and beans and nuts and seeds because they contain amino acids. So our body eats those proteins, breaks them down into their constituent amino acids. Those amino acids circulate through our body in our blood. They're able to enter the cells. Once they enter the cell, they're able to enter the ribosome. And as I've hinted at, the process of protein synthesis is a little bit more complicated than that, but the amino acids that we ate are reassembled in a different order to create the proteins that function within our bodies that allow us to maintain homeostasis and maintain life. So carbohydrates are broken down into monosaccharides or simple sugars. And lipids are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. So once food is digested, it is small enough, and on your paper, you're going to want to write this out, so type this out obviously. It is small enough. Once food is digested, it is small enough to diffuse across the cell membrane of your small intestines and into your blood. So this is the process that I've been talking about. We eat the protein is digested into amino acids, and then once it's digested into amino acids, it is small enough to circulate in our blood, to diffuse across the cell membrane and into your small intestines where nutrient absorption happens, but we'll talk more about that in Unit 5. Your blood then carries the digested food all around your body where it diffuses across the cell membrane and enters the cells. These molecules can be used for growth, movement, and repairing cells, so maintaining life. And this word, diffusion, is a topic that we are going to revisit in Unit 4. But that is a word to describe passive, so it doesn't require energy, transport of materials. And on your papers, these text bits that are in red are missing, so make sure that you include for growth, movement, and repairing cells after this bullet point there on your paper. How does digestion work? Along the pathway through our body, our food is broken down into very small molecules by chewing, churning, and digestive juices. So that's mechanical and chemical digestion. All right. So, how do you think enzymes are involved in digestion? So we already said that enzymes are involved in chemical digestion, but their specific roles in digestion vary depending upon what they're digesting and also where in the body this digestion is occurring. So something that we just talked quite a bit about, pH, comes up again here. And remember, we're talking now about enzymes, so we know that pH affects enzyme activity. We know this is the case. So, in our mouths that have a pH of 7, certain enzymes, like amylase, is going to act in our mouths. And in our mouths, the organic molecule that is digested is starch. And glucose is already small enough to cross the cell membrane. So glucose, as soon as you eat glucose, can diffuse directly across the cell membrane in your mouth and enter the bloodstream. But in our stomachs, things that are more difficult for us to digest, that need this acidic gastric juice or gastric acid in combination with strong enzymes like peptidase that function in such a low or acidic environment, that's proteins that get digested there because they're hard to digest. And in the small intestine, where nutrient absorption occurs and there is a slightly basic pH, we have the digestion of fats, which are the most difficult of these compounds to digest, and then the completion, so starts here, and then the completion of the digestion of starches and proteins. And this doesn't say carbohydrates, it says starch because, as I stated, many of the carbohydrates that we eat are simple sugars or monosaccharides. And simple sugars or monosaccharides, such as glucose, are already small enough to diffuse across the cell membrane. So in this regard, we don't digest chemicals that are that, or compounds that are that small, rather, they just diffuse right directly across the cell membrane and make it into our bloodstream. So this last question down here, this is your prediction. So I'm about to go through the 4 stages of food processing, and then that's a wrap for me. You're gonna answer this part B, pathway of digestion practice, on your own. So you're gonna follow the pathway of digestion using the diagram, which is not on my paper, but it is on yours, to guide your response, describing how you think each component, and the emphasis here is how you think. What do you think would happen? We're gonna talk about what does happen, but before we talk about that, what do you think happens? How each component of the digestive system is involved in the process of eating, digesting, and excreting food and waste. Write your response in 3 or more sentences below. All right. So now let's put some names on the 4 stages of food processing. So we have here the first stage of food processing, the act of eating food or drinking, and that's ingestion. So I'm about to ingest some water. All right. Step 2, the breaking down food into smaller pieces, mechanical digestion, or smaller molecules. So chemical digestion causes a chemical change. Chemical digestion involves the breakdown at a chemical level. And that we're talking about is digestion here. So both types of digestion involve a change to the object, but mechanical digestion doesn't necessarily mean the chemical change has occurred, doesn't necessarily mean the structure of the compounds within the molecules that you're eating have changed. They're just in smaller pieces, as compared to chemical digestion, which implies that there has been a change that occurs at the molecular level. Number 3 is the uptake of small nutrient molecules into the body. So that's absorption, and that happens in the small intestine. Ingestion obviously happens in your mouth. Digestion happens in your stomach, with the assistance of accessory organs, which we're going to talk about, like your gallbladder, liver, pancreas, which make the digestive enzymes and juices that help, such as bile, that help break down your food. And the last step, the 4 stages of food processing, the passage of undigested waste from the body, getting rid of it, is elimination. And here we're getting rid of the waste because we've already absorbed the nutrients. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that was Unit 3, Day 1. Don't forget to answer Part B and go ahead and complete your exit ticket. Today's aim was, how does the process of digestion maintain homeostasis? And we talked about how all of the chemical compounds that we need in order to perform our essential life functions and maintain a balanced internal environment come from the foods that we eat that just need to be broken down with the help of chemical and mechanical digestion in order to be small enough to diffuse across the cell membrane and enter our cells. All right, that's all I have for you today, guys. Hope you have a super fantastic day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell so you get notifications, and go and complete your exit ticket. See you all tomorrow on Zoom. Bye, guys.